Hi, everyone. Thank you guys so much for joining. Thank you for hanging out. Thank you for taking some time today. Hope that you are doing well through all of this and hope that we can support you in some way through this chaos that we're all living through. Um, really want to encourage these lives in this challenge to be interactive. So I'd love it if you guys could say hello, let us know where you're listening from, let us know how it's been for you so far. And as we break down these ideas and build out this marketing roadmap together, really would love to hear from your experience as well. What are some of the things that you've done that you've found success with marketing wise? Hey Tracy, hey Olivia. As it relates to the things that we're talking about, so we've here at Sprout, we've made a roadmap for you guys. And again, this is all very ad hoc. We're very flying by the seat of our pants, but we're just trying to do anything that we can to help you. Hey, Pangle. We're Pangle Photography. Sorry, we're just doing anything we can to try and help you make the most of a really horrible situation right now, and hopefully we can give you some strategies and give you some ideas to grow your business, to generate some revenue, so that you can not have this pandemic affect your business in any significant way when you look at the big picture. So again, hey Alex, how's it going? So the roadmap that we've defined is sort of we're going to start with digital presence. That's one of the main things that we want to talk about at the very beginning here, because now is a great time to be. Obviously, we're all kind of hunkered down, and we all have a lot more time in our hands right now than we perhaps might otherwise. So we want to spend some time, focusing on your digital presence, because it will have an effect on everything that you're doing. Hey, Tara. And the thing is that, we have a whole bunch. I think we've got 7 or 8, quick fire kind of like marketing things to generate some quick money. And we are going to talk about those. We're going to be doing a Facebook Live every single day at 11 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. And the thing that is important to note, though, is that no matter what you do as a photographer, no matter where you advertise, no matter where you market, no matter how you can be present out there, at the end of the day, your clients are always going to Google you, right? They're always going to look for you on the web. And that's why we wanted to spend a bit of time first talking about honing your website and getting your digital presence and your web presence in a really good place. Because no matter what you do in the later days, they're going to come find you on your website. So the more you can get that sort of refined, the better that you're going to be in the long run. So I've got my cheat sheet here, and again, honestly, all of this is very ad hoc. We're just kind of trying to do anything that we can to help you guys out. So as I talk about things here, if you have questions, really want this to be interactive. The whole point of this is that we're doing this as a community. We're doing it together, and so we would love to have you guys contributing ideas or asking questions or getting involved in the dialogue here. So please don't hesitate to ask. The number one thing that is important to talk about as it relates to your website is you need to understand who it is you're talking to. I see so many photographers. Your Google listings to pop. Yeah, Jody, totally. Google listing, huge. Google listing is very important. And in fact, we have a whole section dedicated to SEO, but also a whole section dedicated to testimonials. I just recorded an interview actually right before this about that. So definitely keep an eye out for that. Google listing is massive. So you need to understand who it is you're talking to. In coaching photographers the way that I have, in teaching photographers the way that I have, and in interacting with so many photographers around the world, the biggest mistake that I often see is that they don't understand who it is they're talking to. They feel like they're in a room, they're on a stage, and they're talking to this room of people. And if we kind of use that analogy a little bit, I think what is important in that analogy is, number one, when you are up on a stage talking like that, you need to remember that it's not about you, right? Because the internet, that is what the internet is, right? It is, you are up on a stage and you're talking. The challenge is that you shouldn't sound like you're talking to a room of people that you have no idea who they are. Instead, what you should picture yourself as is sitting in a room talking one-on-one with somebody. And that's what your website is supposed to be doing. It's supposed to be talking one-on-one with that one person that's on the other side of the computer screen. When we make our website, when we write our content, when we do anything that we do with our website, when we curate our portfolio, we often think of, website visitors, right? We look at Google Analytics and we see website visitors, and we see 10, we see 100, we see 1,000, whatever we see, but we look at it as a number. We look at it as that room that we're talking to. But at the end of the day, every single one of those people that come to your website are there by themselves, and they are interacting with you one-on-one. And so that's why it's important to have a really good understanding of who that one person is, because if they feel like you're speaking to them, if they feel like you're talking one-on-one to them, they're more likely to lean in, to dive in, and to go further on your website. And that's the number one goal that we have to think of. The number one objective at the end of the day of your website is to get somebody to get in touch with you. That's the objective. That's the goal of the website. However, in order to do that, you have to get them to stay on your website, right? So someone will find your website, and if they don't like what they see, if they're not connecting with it, if they're not understanding what it is that you offer, if they're not understanding how you can help them, if they feel like you're not talking to them, they're going to bounce. They're going to go on to the next website. And so it's really important that you spend time to understand who that ideal client is. We actually just published a podcast on this, and we have a lot of podcasts on this topic. But I would encourage you for day one to do some work in understanding who it is that's coming to your website. And this takes many forms. I'm sure you've heard of terms like ideal client or customer avatar or profile or anything like that. But you basically just want to understand who it is that's coming to your website and what are the kinds of problems that they're coming there to solve. And if you can understand that, then you can build your website to talk to that one person, and you can sort of sit across the table from that one person and talk directly to them. So that's number one, is to really understand who it is that you're talking to. And I would encourage you to do some work today to kind of brainstorm that, write that down, and everything that you do from this point forward in this challenge is going to be dependent on you having a good understanding of that customer. So spend some time today and do some searching, both in your ideal client list. Maybe you've been photographing for a number of years, and you can think of someone who you think is an ideal client of yours. You think of that one client, and you're like, yeah, that's exactly. I'd love to photograph more of that kind of person, more clients like that. So good. So start to understand a bit more of what drives them. What's their motivations? What do they appreciate? What do they not like? Just get a really intimate understanding of their motivations and of their psychographics in addition to their demographics. I mean, it's important to say, yeah, it's a 27-year-old mom and she's got 3 kids and she drives this kind of car. That's great, but it's even more important to understand the psychographics of what motivates them. What do they appreciate? What do they like? Why do they value photography? What do they value in family? What are they looking for in their family? Why would they want to hire you as a photographer? So those are some things that are really important for you to kind of deep dive into. If you're just joining us live right now, again, thank you so much for joining live. This is day one of the 14-day challenge. We're talking about your website, and today specifically, we're talking about refining the content on your website. When I say content, I mean it's your tone, your voice, your language, who it is you're talking to. And really at the end of the day, all that starts with understanding who your client is and who it is that's coming to your website. And if you can get an intimate understanding of that person who's sitting on the other side of the table or the other side of the computer screen as they look at your website, the more that you can speak specifically to them. So understand that. It's really, really important. The next point that I want to make, and again, as you guys have thoughts, as you guys have questions, if you want to bounce around ideas, please, I really, really want this to be a community effort. So anything that you can do that can contribute, that if you have things that you've learned that you want to share, please don't hesitate to share them in the comments, and we can get a bit of a discussion happening. The second point that I want to make is that there is no such thing as an about page on your website. And that's a bit of a paradigm shift because so much of us think that your website is your portfolio, and then you have to build an about page on your portfolio to like about the artist or about the photographer or things like that. And I'd love to really encourage you to stop thinking that way, because at the end of the day, your personality, your approach, your style, who you are as a photographer, how you can help your clients, all of that needs to be integrated everywhere in your website, not just on an about page. You don't save that stuff for an about page. That needs to be on your home page. It needs to be in your portfolio. You need to have that trickled through every other page. It needs to be on your pricing page. Like everything that defines who you are as a photographer and how you can help your clients needs to be on every page, not just on your about page. So don't look at your website as a portfolio that just happens to have a page of content. Let's instead start looking at your website as your sort of virtual storefront. And that's really what your website is. And so you want to have content on every page. And in fact, I would say don't even have an about page, because that content and who you are and what you can offer your clients is integrated on every page of your website. So start to think a little bit more about how you can guide your clients through your website. And that sort of starts by understanding, what is somebody coming to my website to see? What are they coming to do? What are they expecting? What kind of place are they in when they come to my website? And if you can put yourself in their shoes, you can start to guide that experience for them a little bit more. And every photographer is going to be different in this, but I would suggest it's some sort of pattern where it starts off by you obviously greeting them. Again, like think of it as a storefront. You think of it as you walk into some high-end jewelry store, or you walk into some clothing store, whatever it is. Just pick your favorite store and picture that. And your clients walk into that store. Let's say that you have a physical store. So your client walks in. The first thing you're going to do is you're going to greet them, and you're going to say, "Thank you so much for coming. What brings you in today?" Right? That's kind of how you're going to greet them. You're going to so that's what your homepage should be doing, is like, "Hey, welcome. What can I help you with? What brings you in today?" And then you're going to sort of start to dig a little bit deeper into that. And I call this a needs assessment. So you're basically going to start asking some questions, or start poking, start prodding, and let your client self-identify with where they're at on your website and what kinds of pains they're having. And then you want to start to identify with that. You want to start to talk a little bit about them. The first thing that you talk about on your website should be about your clients, should not be about you. That's a whole other principle that we can go into probably at another time. But Donald Miller, Building a Story Brand, he talks a lot about how we are not the hero of the story as the photographer, as the entrepreneur. Our clients are the hero of the story. And so the more that you can make it about your clients, the better off you're going to be. So anyway, so you greet them, you help them understand how it is that you can help them. You help them maybe agitate the problem. And that could look in the form of, one of the things about having a family is that, things change so quickly, and you are busy in your day-to-day life, and your kids are busy with school and with their sports, and your husband is working and this, and one of the things that you realize at the end of the day when you sit back is you do it all for your family, and you do it all for them, and you're looking for photography that can underscore that for you and for your family and for your situation, to help you remember on those tough days, on those hard times, when things get busy, when things get chaotic, that it's worth it, and that these are the people that I'm doing it for. And you want that beautiful portrait to walk by, or you want that portrait sitting on your desk, or you want that book, or you want whatever it is, to remind yourself of what's really important in your life. And so, that's why you're here, and welcome. And I hope to be able to help you through that, and to give you something that you can cherish and that you can enjoy, and that can be that reminder for you in your life when things get a little bit out of control. And so like that would be the content, like that would be the stuff on the page. And again, you can see now why understanding who that client is important, because you need to speak to them. You need to talk to them about that pain point. So spend some time and do that, right? And then you can move on, and then you can start talking a little bit about how you can help them. And you can talk, and again, always frame all of these things in terms of your client. So instead of saying like, I this and I this and I this and I this, let's start talking about what they get out of it. And you can do this in simple ways. Instead of saying like, I only photograph on location, you say something like, your photos are going to take place at the location that makes most sense for you. And it's like literally the exact same thing, but you're talking to them about them as opposed to about you. See how those small little tweaks can kind of make a big difference in the way that the terminology comes across? So, after you kind of get into all this stuff, you go into how you can help them, and you write some content surrounding that, where it's like, one of the most amazing things is being able to do this, and for you the most important thing is feeling comfortable in your photographs and getting images that really feel natural to you and really feel real to you, and that's why your photos with me are going to be at a location that makes sense for you, and go on and go on and go on. But you're basically going to talk about how you can help them. So that's sort of like the next part of the content. If you're looking at like guiding your clients through your website, that's the next part of the content. And then from there, you can start to show more of a full portfolio. Again, keeping in mind that all along you can be showing elements of your portfolio. Like there's no reason to keep your portfolio to a portfolio page. Like you can sprinkle that stuff in on every page. So have beautiful, header images or hero images. Have images spread throughout. Start to trickle some testimonials throughout. So, as they go through this content, not only are they connecting with you on an emotional level and you're building this relationship with them, but they're now also seeing your work. But it's allowing you to frame your work in a different way versus just saying like, click here for a gallery. Does that make sense? So then obviously, you welcome them, you talk about their problem, you talk about how you can help them with their problem. Now you can show them a little bit more of your portfolio, and you could call this examples, or you could call this stories, or you could just call it portfolio if you want to. But I'm a proponent of framing your portfolio and framing the work that you do in a way that is perhaps more meaningful than just giving them a gallery to click through. So you might want to consider for every one of your galleries, starting the gallery off with a testimonial, or starting the gallery off with a story about what it was like for that family, or what it was like for that session, or what your inspiration was for that session, or a bit of their story. It basically gives you an opportunity to frame the images for them and to give the images more meaning, because they don't know that family, they don't know that couple, they don't know that newborn, they don't know that business client, they don't know what the needs were. They're just looking at it on surface level. They're looking at a picture. And if you can give that picture, or each one of your pictures, a little bit more depth, then you can help your clients connect with what you do, and you're going to build that deeper relationship with them. Okay, so Jody is asking, what about a call to action button like book now? Is there a way to personalize this? Yeah, so when it comes to call to actions, and actually I am going to have an entire one of these days on call to actions, but you have to, again, think about it from your client's perspective. Depending on the kind of photography that you offer, and I realize that there's going to be some difference here depending on whether you're doing families or newborns or weddings or whatever it is. Most clients, like if we're talking about, portraits or weddings or, newborn or boudoir or things like that, I would suspect most of the time, most of your clients will not be ready to book as soon as they come to your website. Like they're going to want to engage with you. They're going to want to build a rapport, dig a little bit deeper, perhaps meet with you, maybe not, but at some point, they're going to want to have a personal relationship versus just, boom, booking right off the get-go. So I've never been a proponent of a book now call to action button, Jody, but instead I'm a proponent of trying to understand their motivation and what they feel is the most logical next step. So if someone comes to your website and they're digging in and they're connecting and they're loving what they see, what to them makes most sense? Is it get in touch? Is it let's talk about my session? Uh, Jody says, you want it button. Hey, Sue. Yeah, I mean, honestly, but like something that is a little bit more like real, right? Like not just, I don't know, not just like a contact us button, but what about a button that said like, tell me about your family, or tell me about this, or if you're a newborn photographer, um, you know, tell me about the most important thing, or tell me about what you want to see in your newborn photos, or like, and again, like that's not going to be the button. That's way too much. That's way too much text, but that would be more the sentiment, or the objective, or the goal, or the vibe that I would want to see, instead of just like a contact button. So I would definitely encourage you to think a little bit more about that kind of thing. Does that help, Jody? Let me know if you want to dive any deeper into that. But that's just some quick thoughts on that. So all of these things, it has to do with, again, building that guided experience. I believe, and I've seen firsthand, the photographers that do the greatest work and the greatest conversions on their website are those that guide their clients on their website. And it's the difference between going to an all-you-can-eat buffet, right? And just kind of walking up and being like, oh my gosh, I don't even know where to start, right? That's what an all-you-can-eat buffet is like. And yeah, it's cheap and affordable, and you can eat all you want, but you're all over the place. I mean, I don't know about you guys. I like to start with ice cream at all-you-can-eat buffets. But anyways, you kind of probably don't go in the logical order when you go to an all-you-can-eat buffet. Some people do. I don't know. Maybe you're maybe you're one of those that like starts with a salad and then goes on to this and then goes on to this. And if that's the case, great. But I suggest that most people at an all-you-can-eat buffet, it's like a free-for-all, right? It's a lot to think about, a lot to logic with. Whereas if you think about, a 5-course plated meal, that is a very logical progression of, how the food comes out, and there's a reasoning behind it. And, there's this, sometimes they'll even bring out gelato, right? Some lemon gelato in between courses to cleanse your palate. That's wonderful, isn't it? I'm like, give me some more of that gelato when that stuff comes out, right? But that's what you want your website to be. You want your website to be that guided experience. And so today, that's my challenge for you, is to spend today and to dig a little bit onto your website. And I don't mean you have to completely redo your website. That's not what this is about. Do what you can with the tools that you have. If you're using WordPress, if you're using Squarespace, if you're using Wix, if you're using Showit, like whatever it is, they all have pretty flexible tools in how you can work with your website. And if it just means for now changing your content, that's fine, or updating your content, that's fine. Let's spend some time today in this sort of community challenge, in this group challenge, and let's work on the content on your website. And more specifically, let's focus on building that more guided experience through your website. So that's going to start with understanding who it is that you're talking to, and then it's going to go on to guiding them through that process of going through your website. And again, every photographer is going to be different. If you have specific ideas, I'd love for you to kind of throw them at me, and I'd be happy to help you. Or if you want to post them in the Facebook group here, or if you want to start dialogues with some friends that you have locally, that's like totally fine too. But basically, okay, so Deborah, love this. Thank you for providing this amazing program. How long is each session? So Deborah, I'm kind of thinking, again, like this is all, we don't have this like perfectly figured out yet. We're just trying to do anything we can to help you guys. And so what we're going to be doing is every day of the week, we're going to be going live here on Facebook, probably for about half an hour, and just doing this. Every day we're going to have a different sort of like task for you, or a different challenge for you to help you build up this marketing machine. And then you've got the rest of the day to kind of do the work. And so today, the challenge is to really really understand and define your ideal client. And if you need help with that, post in the group. If you want to bounce it off of us, or if you want to bounce it off other photographers, please don't hesitate to do that. Again, this is supposed to be a community effort, so let's all help each other out here. And then once you have figured out that ideal client, let's focus on sort of tilting your content on your website and tilting your website to be more of that guided experience, so that you can have them come to your virtual storefront. You welcome them, you greet them, you ask them what they're looking for, you help them with their needs, you then talk to them about how you can help them, you show them some of the images. So you kind of go through that process with them, and then of course you're going to end obviously with a call to action, and that is sort of like what we talked about. So that's it in terms of like the content for today. That's a lot of work for today, but again, our hope and our goal here is that we can help you build a really, really great marketing machine, so that while you have some downtime right now, while we're all in this social isolation, we can do some positive work in our business. You can really make some changes in your business, so that as soon as the dust settles with this, you can be ready to kick up some things and generate some revenue right away. So we've got, again, like I said, just if you're just joining us now, the first sort of 4 or 5 days of this are going to be a lot on your digital presence and about getting some of these foundational things in a good place and a good working order, building a nice foundation to build this house on top of. And then we're just going to go rapid fire through like tactics. We're going to talk about gift certificates. We're going to talk about family portrait plans. We're going to talk about recurring plans for other businesses. We're going to talk about Facebook ads. We're going to talk about partnership marketing. We're going to talk about referral marketing. So there's like a whole bunch of things that we're just going to be spitballing at you and just like throwing you ideas to say, here's how you can generate some money. And that's the whole idea, is that we hope to be able to help you make up for any of the lost revenue that you may have lost because of cancellations or reschedulings and things like that. LJ, will this be available to rewatch? Yes, absolutely. So we're not deleting any of these. These are going to be available here in the Facebook group for you to rewatch. So obviously, if you join the live, we can chat, we can hang out, we can talk, we can spitball like this. But if you want, come on back, watch the replay, and they will always be here for you. So that's mostly it. If you guys have any questions, if you have any thoughts, if there's anything that you want to share, happy to facilitate that, happy to help in any way that we can help. But otherwise, again, let's do this together. Let's work on this together. Let's help each other grow. And yeah, let's make it through this together as a family. The photography industry I've seen is so strong. This community is so strong. And I really do believe that, if we all put our heads together, if we all work together, then we can not see this be, this detrimental thing in our business. We can really make this be positive in our business. So looking forward to this. And again, thank you guys for watching. Thank you for hanging out. And between these, let's keep conversation going here on the Facebook group. Do a post, ask questions if you need clarification. If you want to just say, hey, here's what I think for my ideal client. What do you guys think? And let's just bounce ideas off each other and let's help each other out. So I'm going to wrap up with that. And again, thank you so much. And we'll talk to you tomorrow at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Ciao.